I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cookin.
Hello and welcome to Keep On Cookin, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm really excited today because I have a very special guest to kick things off with me with a dedication to starting conversations about animal rights, social justice, and sustainability with his apparel brand Compassion Co. Andy Tabar has been producing original hand-illustrated t-shirts and other organic recycled cotton clothing made in sweatshop-free American facilities with eco-friendly inks and dyes since 2011. He was also half of the very popular podcast, The Bearded Vegans, that wrapped in 2021, but you can still go back and listen to all of their episodes, which you will want to do. Please welcome to Keep On Cookin, Andy Tabar. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to jump into your icebreaker question. Because I have had the pleasure of enjoying these specific rooms with you, I have this question for you. What is your favorite escape room?
You know, I have to say I'm nearing 300 played at this point.
Wow,
so
that was going to be my follow-up. Okay, I was curious where you were at on your number there.
So like the more I've played, the harder it is to actually answer that question because there's like some that are just so clearly like, oh, this is amazing, but then they don't do XYZ better. But if I had to pick one, I recently did a trip to Amsterdam or the Netherlands specifically for escape rooms.
I love this so much.
With several other escape room nerds, and literally all
That's
we did
awesome.
was escape rooms.
That's great.
And there's a room there called the Dome, and it was absolutely mind-blowing.
Wow.
Escape rooms over there on a whole nother level. Apparently they have like a lot of like art endowments and stuff. So they have these like wildly huge, elaborate rooms with multiple actors and all this stuff. And the Dome is one that like essentially they're trying to mimic what it would be like to hallucinate.
Wow.
So
how was that for you?
It was cool. I mean, it wasn't as like trippy as I kind of thought it might be.
Sure.
But I mean, like literally it's things where like you're in a room, you leave the room, and then you go back to that same door, and it's a completely different like environment. And like the physical transformations that this space has, like by the end of it, our whole group was like, we have no idea where we have been and like where we started because it's that disorienting. And
That's wild.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So the Dome where was it?
It's somewhere in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Forget. The name of the venue is Mama Bazooka.
Okay.
So
I love that even more. That's great.
Yeah.
Almost 300. So did you go on this trip specifically to go to escape rooms?
Yes.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
That is so great.
The Netherlands are like a hot spot for like there's a whole global ranking system where people who have, you know, played a lot of rooms, all that stuff, and like consistently like 3 or 4 of the top like 10 will be in the Netherlands. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, I usually answer the icebreaker question as well. So what's my favorite escape room? I have a simple answer to that. My favorite escape room is any escape room that Andy Tabar's in. Because I'm pretty confident I'll get out then. I have had the joy, the privilege, the honor of doing a couple with you. Now, all that to say, the ones we've done, I think, are like baby ones in comparison to what you're talking about. And you've also told me there was a story one time. Don't worry, everybody. We'll stop tangenting about escape rooms, I promise. But there was one you told me about. I believe it's here in the U.S. where you were like, you had to like crawl through like a tunnel maybe, or you were getting dragged out at some point.
I've been dragged.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not I'm not making this up. That's real, right? Those things have happened.
Yeah, it's not typical, but yeah, it's like a full contact horror escape room out in LA called Zoe Reborn, and
wow,
there's tasers and
did you get tased?
Yeah, but it's like it's like a baby little. They told me we'll never tase your bare skin. So getting tased through the shirt was just kind of like is that a taser?
Okay.
But I did have friends who did get tased on their bare skin, and they did say it hurt quite a bit.
Wow.
But yeah, you're getting dragged around, put in body bags, like all strapped to electric chairs, all that kind of stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
So I'm going to give a new answer. My favorite one is any room that you're in, but also that no one's allowed to touch me or put a taser on me. That's my favorite kind of escape room. My goodness. Well, we're here today to chat about a very popular book, Isa Chandra Moskowitz, Vegan with a Vengeance, and we will get to that. But before we do, Andy, let's chat a little about Compassion Co. and traveling. You're always making the Veg Fest circuit, so I thought it would be fun for our listeners to hear what your top 5 but before we get to that, tell the listeners about Compassion Co. I know I said a bit in the intro, but tell everyone about Compassion Co. a little bit.
Sure. So Compassion Co. is a vegan apparel line. And what I mean by vegan apparel is obviously the messages that go on it, but also trying to incorporate the vegan ethic throughout the whole chain of production. Because when I first went vegan, which is now like 17 or so years ago, and I was like looking for shirts to wear, I just couldn't find anyone that was making shirts that had like the vibe that I wanted and was putting out a message in the way that I wanted. It was stuff that was either like super hippy dippy, like I heart tofu just on like a white shirt, or the like extreme militant kind of stuff. And I was like, I want stuff that's like fun and snarky.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that was available was also on like these horrible Gildan t-shirts that are like sandpaper and clearly made in horrible conditions and bad for the workers.
Yeah.
So I wanted to produce something that was fun, would start conversations, and was produced in a way that was like less bad for the planet. Caveat being, best thing to do is buy nothing. But if you have to buy a shirt, we all got to buy something new sometimes.
Yes.
I'm here for people so they don't have to feel like they're compromising their ethics in order to wear a vegan message.
Yes, I love that. I have several Compassion Co pieces, and I love them and adore them, and they're always so comfy, and the messaging's so great. And you do make the veg fest circuit with all this, so people have the opportunity to meet you in person, buy the goods, but also shop online. CompassionCo.com, is that correct?
That's the one.
So when we're looking at you traveling, though, I thought it might be fun. You and I used to talk about all the different restaurants, in the US, and when I was traveling more, but now I don't travel as much. So you're here today, and I wanted to ask you, since you do travel more frequently and recently, what are your top 5 vegan? I'm curious if I have any that are on the list, but what are your top 5 vegan restaurants in the US right now?
Yeah. One that would have been on the list up until like a week ago is Modern Love. Which ties into our book today.
Yes.
But they just had their last service this past Saturday.
Now, still open in Omaha, is that correct?
I think so.
I think so as well. Have you been to that one as well?
I've only ever gotten takeout there.
Okay.
Once or twice.
Okay. No, she did. So for those of you that don't know, I think you do know, everyone, but if you don't, Modern Love is Isa Chandra Moskowitz restaurant in Brooklyn. There's also one in Omaha, Nebraska, but the one in Brooklyn recently closed. So what was your favorite thing to have at Modern Love?
They did a brunch, and there was like their version of shrimp and grits. I forget what the shrimp was, but it was not that standard Jello mold, whatever.
Raw.
And it like completely turned me around on shrimp and grits. Whenever I saw that on a menu, I was like, whatever, I don't care. And this made me like always want it. They put some, they're flavor wizards there. Like everything is just so flavorful. The portions are good. Substantial. So like, even though you're paying like a decent price, you don't feel like you're being ripped off.
Right.
And they put some kind of like chili oil that was drizzled on top of the shrimp and grits. And there was like many things with all these different textures on them. And it was just one of those things where like the first bite, you're just like, your whole body melts. You're like, how is this so good? So that was probably my favorite thing.
I wonder what was it mushrooms for the shrimp, or
it probably was. There's probably some like breaded maitake or oyster mushroom or something like that, if I remember.
Well, and I know she said something on Instagram like it, everything comes to an end, but it might leave room for an incarnation of something else potentially. So we'll pay attention, and hopefully something else comes from Isa in Brooklyn or in New York somewhere. But okay, so that would have been on the top 5.
That would have been probably my number one.
That's okay. So where are we at then?
Okay,
since it
so
can't
for
be on there.
restaurants that are fully vegan and still open, as we're losing them at a record pace.
That's another reason I wanted to ask you this, because so many I remember are no longer there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was like going over the list. I was like, oh, nope, they're done. No, they're done. Okay, so number 5, I'm going to put Plant in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, Plant. Love
been?
Plant. Yes. We covered them on Vegan Roadie, and I'm thrilled they're still there. Jason, can't remember his last name, starts with an S, but that's the chef, and he's great.
It's not Sellers, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say, actually. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say Sedaris, and I was like, I know that's incorrect.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
This restaurant is like,
I love it.
It's something where I feel like no matter what I get, I'm always going to be excited about it. It's a place that feels fancy without being pretentious, without being super expensive. And I've never had a bad meal there.
Yep.
My very first experience there, someone who is like a sous chef there was a fan of the podcast. And he was like, if you're ever passing through, you got to come check it out. So I went, And they're the kind of place where you need a reservation typically. So I got there like, at 5 p.m. right when they opened because I didn't have a reservation, and I was the only person there. And they're like, would you like to, I'm looking at the menu like, would you like to can we just make a tasting menu for you?
Yeah.
So I got to, you're looking at the menu, of course, and you're like, I want to try all this stuff. And all of a sudden I get like 3 bites of everything on the menu. So I got like a very good sampling of everything. And I had favorites, of course, but like,
I'm so jealous right now that happened.
It was such a good experience.
I had like an applewood smoked portobello mushroom with like a polenta cake and like these like delicious cherry tomatoes. And then I remember there was like some sort of like caramel blondie ice cream situation for dessert I had, but that's what I vaguely remember.
Yeah, you're talking about, I feel like they call it like the Porto stack or like something like that. I remember like, really enjoying that.
Yeah, which is weird because I usually do not go for the portobello mushroom thing, and I was digging it. It was great.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing there right now, they have this like ravioli dish, and it comes in this like butternut cream sauce. Yes, it's filled with spinach and cheese. And the last time I was there, they were offering, you could add on some, local grown asparagus to it if you wanted.
Yes.
So we did that. And I was there actually with my parents and my partner.
Okay.
And we all like were sharing that, and we're all very sad when it ended.
Like, maybe we order another? Is that what we need to do?
But it was so good. My parents, who are not vegan, they still rave about that meal.
Love it.
And my parents live that RV life. They travel around.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're always up and down the East Coast, and they always make sure for the last 2 years, at least, that is where my mom's birthday dinner is. So like,
fantastic.
If anything could possibly speak to how good this restaurant is, that 2 non-vegans would go out of their way to make that a birthday dinner, like that is, I think high praise.
Yes, that is high praise. That's very good. Okay. So Plant in Asheville. What's next then? Clicks notes, opens computer. Boop, 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 boop.
Okay. Kindred in San Diego.
Haven't had it. Okay, tell me more.
My God. Okay.
Is it fast casual? No, then I don't know what I'm talking about. Continue.
Yeah, it's you sit down, you have a server, all that kind of stuff. Before you even get to the food, the atmosphere is impeccable. It is like, I feel like Disney level detail and theming if Disney made a bar where French Gothic vampires hanged out.
Amazing.
Like,
love that.
Literally everything about it is just like the tiniest of little details. The wallpaper from far away, you're like, there's a pattern. You go up close, you're like, oh, it's like eyeballs fighting and like Cabbage Patch Kids like killing each other.
So it's just cool.
There's this gigantic, huge, like black marble, like wolf's head with like, 8 eyes and snakes coming out of it or whatever.
Okay.
The bathroom is amazing. The bathroom has like all this artwork that is like classic album art from bands, but it's cats instead of whatever the original subject matter is.
So there's a whole vibe going on.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And so all of that would be nothing if the food wasn't good. The food is fantastic. I don't personally drink, but they have like a very extensive drink menu of things that look very creative. And they also have like a smaller menu of like mocktails and things like that.
Okay.
Of which I couldn't recall a particular detail, but like it's nice to have that.
Do you recall? Did you have a mocktail?
I did.
Okay, great.
I don't remember.
That's all right. Mocktails are, it's flavored soda water usually.
Yeah, like
just dressed up a little bit.
Would you like
I'm
to pay
good with
$12 for juice?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm like, sure. So I can feel like I fit in with everyone else. Great. Yes.
My favorite thing to get there is actually a salad, which is very weird.
Sure.
It's called the Wizard Bowl.
Okay.
And they do this. Hold on, I wrote it down. It comes with lemongrass impossible, roasted sweet potatoes, fried greens, herbs, and crunchy quinoa. And then like whatever the dressing is, like it's just, in a menu full of all these other delicious, wonderful fried, kind of elevated kind of stuff. The fact that I'm still ordering the salad when I go.
Yeah, that's impressive.
They also do an amazing brunch.
Okay.
And my favorite thing there, I'm not a pancake guy. I usually like a savory breakfast.
Okay.
Their pancakes are phenomenal. They're thick.
They're
fluffy. They come with these like, I don't know, flambéed bananas and like kind of like a caramel kind of sauce on them.
I love it.
It's so good.
Oh, I want that. I love pancakes so much. So I'm going to have to put that on my list. Kindred. And I also love San Diego. So I'm here for it. That's great.
It's awesome. It's not too far from Dog Beach. So you can go to a beach dedicated to dogs.
Which
after you go to Kindred.
I'm all for that. So that's great. Okay. So what's number, are you going in any particular order here?
I'm going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're on 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Mirasada in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
This is a town that I love. It's a town that is, an embarrassment of riches in terms of all the vegan restaurants that are there. It's like probably my favorite city to go to eat. I hadn't been there in 5 years, and so many of my favorite places, unfortunately, were COVID casualties. Mirasada is kind of this new one that popped up a couple of years ago, and they've sort of become now like one of the longest running vegan restaurants in town, and also kind of this like crown jewel of Portland, in my opinion. It's all vegan, Sri Lankan restaurant. It is a like cooperative worker-owned thing, so everybody who works there is a worker owner. They all get paid exactly the same. And I'm not personally familiar with Sri Lankan food. It's the only Sri Lankan restaurant in Portland. And so for that reason, a lot of people go to check it out, but also the vegans love it. And the meal that I had there was absolutely phenomenal.
Before you get into the meal, and this is my ignorance, is Sri Lankan food, is it easy to make vegan? Is a lot of it already vegan, or is it a hefty like lift to make it vegan?
Having not being an expert, it seems like that a lot of it does lend itself to veganism.
Okay.
Like it's there's a lot of like curries and stuff involved in it, but like their version of curry is not like, oh, here's this assortment of vegetables. Yeah. It's like this curry features, like they have a garlic curry where it's like garlic cloves, and that's the only substance to it aside from whatever the sauce is. And so they even do like a rice and curry plate where it's like, oh, here's, whatever, 8 different curries, and it's rotating. So you never know what you're going to get necessarily.
Okay.
And so it'll be like, oh yeah, this is the curry that just features like cucumbers or something like that.
Okay.
But
yes, what's your favorite? I was just curious. Thank you for expanding on that a little.
So they do have the stuff that's like, oh, here's just like highlighting the vegetables, but they also do have things that were traditionally like meat based. The star of the show for me was this deviled pork, and never had it, never heard of it.
What's it made out of?
Soy curls. Which is the MVP of vegan, meats and proteins, and so underutilized, and so many people outside.
So underutilized, even by me, I don't use it enough. I'm like, why haven't I been using this more?
I have like a 5-pound bag of it in the freezer that I just keep there, and like whatever it is. If you don't know what to make, barbecue soy curls.
Yes,
like it's so easy.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, they're, for people who don't know, it's literally one ingredient. It's just soy, and they're kind of made into these like chicken strippy type things. You rehydrate it, and then it's just like tofu, and it's whatever you season with
Takes whatever flavor,
fry it, whatever. It doesn't matter. This was, I can't even describe it. It's almost like in the realm of like a General Tso's, kind of like, it's kind of a sweet, kind of a spicy. It comes with it does come with a bunch of vegetables. Wait, I wrote it down. It has soy sauce, chili paste, onions, banana peppers, curry leaves, ramp, and spices are like the things in there. And it was just like, I brought a friend there who was not vegan, hadn't seen her in 20 years. We were catching up. Yeah. She absolutely loved the meal. She's like, I'm going to bring so many people here. And we tried. We were just like, give us whatever you think we should try, basically. And so they brought a bunch of stuff out, and it was so good. And
I want it now.
They have this pineapple upside down cake that's a dessert that just like melts in your mouth. It is just like, it feels like it's just barely held together structurally. And as soon as it's in your mouth, it just like, just melts over your tongue. It's so delicious.
I'm in love with pineapple lately. And just hearing that, I'm just like, give me 7 pieces of it right now. I want it.
Yeah, pineapple is the best.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And a pineapple upside down cake is my everything. So I'm here for that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's number 3.
All right. I got a number 2 that I know you're fond of.
Okay, good.
We're going to go La Samia.
I was just texting Reed today, Chef Reed. Tell me why you love La Samia.
I mean, the atmosphere is great. The people that run it seem to just be absolute sweethearts, and the service is always good. The vibe is immaculate, and the food is, I've never had a bad thing there. And everything is either good to like mind-blowingly good. And, for me, the crown jewel is the chochayotes. Yeah,
I miss them.
That's the sigh of a man who knows.
They're so good.
It's a Latin restaurant, and it has items that were like very familiar, and then some that are just like, I've never seen this before. Yeah. And the chochayotes fall into that category. And it's probably not something I would have ordered unless I had seen other people raving about it and posting pictures. And I was like, this is so interesting. Even just like the presentation, it's a feast for the eyes. It's this like coconut corn broth. And I've heard them explain the process where they're like, marinating the coconut milk in like corn husks for, 24 hours or whatever. Yeah. And then you have these like corn dumplings, but then also these like fried tortilla chips in there. So you have like all these different textures, all these different flavors. There's like a matcha oil. There's some like pumpkin seeds in there.
Yes.
And flavor explosion.
It just like melts in your mouth too. You take a little bite of the dumpling, and then with the broth in there and all the different sauces and everything, the texture you're talking about, it's so good. I'm like, like when David and I moved, it was like that was like one of the places in Atlanta we were just like, oh, we're going to miss this place so much. So much.
It's just so good. They seem to be doing extremely well. So I'm glad that they're well received. And like being in Atlanta, so much of the scene is like these like pop-up restaurant things. Sure. And it's rare that there's ever like a sit down restaurant when someone comes to town and I'm like, oh, this is the place you have to go. And when La Semilla came along, I was like, that has filled that gap, because that is by far the place I recommend to everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. When someone's going to Atlanta, they're like, where do I go? I'm like, go to La Semilla. And I will say Flower and Time Bakery now. I love Flower and Time Bakery.
I like excluded bakeries from this list because there's like some that I just like love so much. But Flower and Time is immaculate.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. We've been to Modern Love together. We've been to La Semilla together. We've been to Flower and Time together. Look at us. Look at that. Who would have thought? I love it. I love it. Okay. Any other mentions from the menu at La Semilla before you move on to number one?
I think the queso blanco.
Okay. Oh, yes. You mean that little bowl that David and I basically lick clean when we're there?
I want to bathe in it. It's it's so good. I mean, what more can you say?
And what I love too, when I talk to Chef Reed there, he's so enthusiastic about what he's doing. And he sort of like gets really nerdy and geeks out about it when he talks to me. Sometimes so much that like I get a little lost in what he's saying. I was like, wait, what? How are you doing what? I just love somebody who's so, he's very curious about the process of what he's doing and what he's creating. It's really interesting to hear a chef talk like that. I'm not like that. You know what I mean? So when I meet a chef I'm like, oh, you're in this in a different way. Your brain is just like, on a different level with all this. And it's really cool to hear him talk about that too.
And that type of person could come across as like really pretentious. And you see like, the restaurants are like, we've gelatinized, that is like 0% the vibe from La Semilla. It like really shows. They have this like lion's mane mushroom dish where like, again, reading the process, it's some like, multi-part, we smoke it, we do that, press it, like all that stuff. It's on this yuca mash and it's awesome. That's like one of the things where like they can only get so much of it, so it like sells out.
Yes. Well, and so on that note too, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought it up, because they source locally like as much as they can. They have made it part of their mission to like really source as locally as they can, as much as they can. So it's great.
Yeah. You get it. My impression, not knowing them super well, is that like they actually really care. And they're not just here to like make a quick buck. Not that there's a quick buck to make in running a restaurant. But like it feels like they care. They care about the community. They care about the ingredients, the integrity of the food, the customer experience, everything. I've never had a server there that was less than stellar.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Which I can't say about a lot of places.
I know, right? Yeah, the staff is happy. It always says a lot. Okay, so that's your number two.
Number one, I can almost guarantee you have not been to.
Okay. All right.
It's a little place called Shandles in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Okay. What if I was like, oh, I love Shandles?
I mean, I would love it. This is like an old school spot. They've been around for longer than I've been.
I can't believe I haven't been there then, because I've been to Bridgeport. Okay.
So it's like an ITAL spot. It's the kind of place where you walk in and everything has already been prepared. It's almost like buffet, whatever style. And you're like, oh, I'm going to get the large, so I get 6 things out of here.
Yep.
And it's just Shandle, the guy that runs it. It's always just him that's in there. He takes his time as he's serving you, and then dips his ladle in the water to come back. It's like you just know you might have to wait if there's a bit of a line.
I love it though.
And the food, I mean, it's just like my number one, because like I know it's not the most impressive setting, but for me, the flavors and like the love that's infused in that food is just so apparent, and it's never a miss. I have things I like more than others, but there's a few that are just like outrageously good. There's this like lima bean dish that has like, I don't know what it's in there. It feels like it's like yuba strips or something like that. Yeah. And it's kind of like saucy and mashed up. it's so good. And they have like a lo mein dish, which feels like that doesn't fit in, but it doesn't taste like lo mein. It has like almost a little bit of sweetness. So it's one of those things where you're like, I'm going to get a couple of these different bites and get the barbecue tofu. And they don't use a lot of like mock meats, but there is like a curry chicken dish that's like pretty spicy. They have a brown stew tofu. Like, it's just one of those things where like everything is just such a good bite. And this guy Shandel that's behind the counter, one time me and a friend went in there and somehow it came up that it was his birthday. And we were like, it's your birthday. Like, shouldn't you be off and like doing something funny? He's like, this is what I love to do. Oh, I love to serve this food, you know? So it's just like, you feel so good supporting him.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. How long have they been there then?
They've been there for like a really long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool to hear. I love hearing about an OG spot like that. That's still kicking and doing the thing too. Yeah. That's great. Well, that's Andy's top 5.
There we go.
And if you know what's good for you, you will listen to it. Now, let's talk Veg Fest. Where will you be this summer, my friend? I have a list in front of me, unless you want to rattle it off the top of your head. I don't know if you have it memorized.
When's this airing?
I mean, in the next couple of weeks. So we'll get it out here. Yeah.
All right.
I guess we'll start with the July dates probably.
Sure.
Then. Yeah.
I will be at the Vegan Food Fest in Durham, North Carolina. I think I'm going to be the only vendor that's not selling food. So
okay.
We'll see how that goes.
All right.
July's pretty like sparse for me, but then August and the fall gets heavy hitting again. August 16th is the Pittsburgh Veg Fest, which is like a do not miss for me. The weekend after that, August 24th, I'll be at the Rochester Veg Fest, my first time there. So should be
something
fun.
Something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then September 6th, I'll be at the Louisville Veg Fest, Louisville.
Okay. Louisville.
And then, Charlottesville is September 14th at the Seaville Veg Fest. September 20th, I'll be at the Vermont Veg Fest. September 21st, Syracuse Veg Fest. And then it just goes on and on and on. I always have a list of fests at compassionco.com.
Yes,
People can find me and try on a shirt in person. Don't
Absolutely.
have to deal with all the shipping hassle.
Yes, I love that. We'll put the schedule in stories as well so people know where to find Andy and to get themselves some Compassion Co goodies. Now let's get to the food. So I asked Andy if he wanted to come on and chat about a favorite vegan cookbook, and he said Vegan with a Vengeance by Isa Chandra Moskowitz. Now, this has been a popular one on the podcast. When I ask authors what their first vegan cookbook is, a lot of people have said Vegan with a Vengeance. So I'm happy to go through this book finally, and I'm happy to have you here and chat about it because I want to know what your experience is with it. Like, what was your experience? When does it fall in your timeline? When was this book like a big part of your world?
Pretty much almost from the beginning of going vegan. I think my very first one was How It All Vegan.
How it all began. We had a lengthy conversation about putting the V at the beginning of words. Anyway, so How It All Began, yes.
But the second one, Vegan with a Vengeance, and this is a book that I purchased for myself, and I have been gifted no less than 5 times.
I love that so much.
Like back then, this was like 2007, 2006 or so, and there wasn't that many vegan cookbooks out there. And so I feel like it was just a matter of, at the time I'm like punk dude in a band, touring, living like a dirtbag, all that stuff.
It made sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And like the cover of it, you have this like brand new.
I have the new one. The old one's not like that.
And it looks
the
like
original. I should say.
And the original looks like even more punk. And so I feel like people were just like, well, do we get him? What do we know about this guy? He's vegan. We'll get him a cookbook. Do we get them this hippie dippy looking thing or the one with like the punk rock, person on the front? Yeah. So that's why I assume that I've been gifted that so many times, but that it was something that came into my life super early on. And it's like one of the few books that like kind of taught me how to cook because before going vegan, it was like, all right, I learned a few things, how to make them for my parents, but like, I'm mostly like this like helpless like college kid, and college kids eat macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets and like the lowest common denominator. I still love that stuff, but it's like
I hear you.
You don't like know how to. Most people at that age don't know how to cook for themselves.
Yes.
And so this was just a book. When I got it, one, it was something that was presenting veganism in a way that wasn't hippy dippy. It was like, oh, this is from my world, because like in punk and hardcore and ska and stuff like that, there's like a sect of veganism that is like extremely like in your face and like it's like an edgy thing. It's not like this like wimpy passive kind of thing that was sort of the image of veganism at the time, like the Birkenstock wearing, like all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And so pouring through and being like, oh, this person's from my world,
Yep.
and I'm going to learn from them. And it was a book that has so many recipes. And it was just this period of just so much excitement, because it was like pouring through and be like, oh, I want to try this. I want to try this. And so it's kind of like, oh, I learned how to make like granola from this cookbook.
Oh,
and I learned how to make, I think granola is actually how it all began, but,
Sure. Okay.
but like learning how to like, oh, I learned how to make biscuits from this book, and just all these things, and learning, oh, that worked, that didn't work. And it's also a book that I feel like on some level kind of encourages you to experiment.
Yeah.
The recipe that still persists to this day in my family that I make it all the time is the punk rock chickpea gravy.
Okay.
And it's got this whole list of spices, but it's also, if I remember, there's like a note that's like, if you don't have these, that's fine. Put in whatever. Leave some stuff out, taste it.
So it's giving permission.
See what you think.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of was like, oh, cooking can be exciting. It isn't just like following a very specific rule, and sort of, it's really exciting, I guess is the word. Like when you start to cook and you realize you have some agency, and that like you have some intuition and a gut feeling, and you can trust your own taste buds, and you can be like, this recipe was good, but I could make it better. Like all of that. And I feel like part of that is the sort of the punk ethos that comes from that book. And it's like a really empowering thing when someone like learns how to cook. And so that's like where this book was, like young baby vegan Andy. I'm like 25, 26 or so around that time. And just like, it just felt like this world had opened up to me when I got that book. Like it was just so exciting.
Well, and I love what you're saying about, if you don't have this, you can do that. And it's really giving permission to somebody and the freedom to like, and sort of like the, I don't know, it's bolstering you in a way to be like, you've created this thing, but you can do it a different way if you want to, and that's going to be okay. It's funny you said the chickpea gravy, because Natalie of Bacon Destroy says she makes her husband's favorite gravy is the navy bean gravy from Vegan Brunch by Isa Chandra Moskowitz. So all this bean gravy everywhere. Listeners, for a little summary on the book, this is the classic first solo cookbook from Isa Chandra. Before that, she was co-authoring with Terry Hope Romero, most famously Veganomic. Just like the co-authored books, Vegan with a Vengeance is full of tasty recipes, chatty anecdotes, and money-saving tips for easy plant-based cooking, as well as tempting full-color photos throughout. No fuss, no BS, just cheap, delicious, easy food. The original book came out in 2005. Was a big success, and a new 10th anniversary edition, which Andy mentioned, I've got the 10th anniversary one, has some more recipes and updated photos. That was released in 2015. But just as she always does, Isa showers us with tips for taming your tofu, doing away with dairy, and getting rid of the eggs. So let's chat food. You talked about the chickpea gravy. What are your go-to recipes from this book after all these years? What did you remember making the most, and what still comes back every now and then for you?
I mean, the chickpea gravy is the one that like I can make it and I don't need to look at a recipe at all. And,
nice. So you've made that several times then.
Like it's a staple of my family's Thanksgiving, and like
I have to make these bean gravies. My gosh.
I mean, it's like a good thick lumpy kind of gravy, but yeah, I mean, back when I was like a broke punk, I would make that because you can make a pretty good batch of it. It's like mainly, you're dicing an onion, frying it in a pan, mashing up some chickpeas, and then just doing all these spices and, water and nooch and stuff like that. It's like a pretty cheap thing to make, and it feels warm and substantial and all that kind of stuff. And so that is one that I always used to make. My partner Jessica loves it. And it's become this thing that my parents always request. And we've tried other gravy recipes for holiday meals, and they're like, it's just not the same. And I've sent them the recipe for times when I can't be there. Yeah. And they're like, it was good, but it just wasn't, because again, I'm not following the specific recipe. And actually it's funny you say the navy bean thing, because there's been times when I didn't have chickpeas and I'm like, surely this will work with another bean. So I'll make like black bean gravy, navy bean gravy, like all that kind of stuff. It's extremely versatile. And again, it has that whole list of spices, and you're like, maybe I feel like some tarragon today. You throw that in there. It's extremely forgiving in terms of like adding little stuff in there. Do you have days where you just feel like tarragon? A little bit of tarragon, a little dash of tarragon. It's got to be specific. I think I don't think about tarragon enough, which is why I asked. But I said tarragon to somebody yesterday, and I was like, it's coming into my world now several times. Okay, so the chickpea gravy. What else? So the other recipe in there that holds a special place for me is the Coconut Heaven cupcakes. This was like, I don't know, maybe the first thing I ever baked or something that wasn't, you know, among the first things I've ever baked.
Yeah.
Certainly something that wasn't like, you know, a pre-made box that you're just adding some oil and, you know, milk or whatever to. And these cupcakes are so good. It's just like a cupcakey flavored cake, and then like a cupcake, or a coconut flavored. The cupcake tastes like cupcake.
Ooh, what's a cupcake flavor?
You're such an angel for like just nodding and being like, that makes sense.
I was like, I think coconut, but okay.
Yeah. It's like a coconut cake, and then the icing is also coconut, and then you'll like sprinkle some coconut. So it's like coconut overload. Yeah. It's so good. Back when I was trying to figure out what's my activist avenue, I would make a bunch of food, baked goods and chili and stuff, and I would go to shows, you know, punk bands, hardcore bands playing, and sell it for very cheap, because I was like, people need to know that this food can be really good. Especially at that point in 2007 or so. It's like, you know, I shudder to think about the people that went vegan in like the 80s. But 2007 felt like the dark ages.
Making your own soy milk and tofu.
Yeah, it just seems so miserable. So hats off to everyone that did it then. You know, but I wanted to show people like how good this food can be. And it would be a thing I was selling a cupcake for like $2 or whatever, just to recoup my cost. And I'd have vegan literature and stuff. And everybody loved them. But the most special place that this recipe holds is that for my sister's wedding, she requested that she was going to do a cupcake tier, and she wanted me to make the cake that was going to be at like the top of it, as well as they were going to hire a baker to do like most of them, but they're like, we also want vegan stuff there. So I made those cupcakes as well.
Oh my gosh.
And I personally think they looked much better than what the professional did. They went so fast, and everybody loved them. And like, you know, just the groom's father was like, what, this is vegan? I had no idea. This is amazing. And I also have used it to make the top cake was going to be like a giant cupcake. Essentially, I found some like mold to make. It was a horrible disaster. You know, that's how I learned that like different humidity levels really affect how much an icing can hold together. So it's like, I practiced. I sent her pictures. Everything looked great, and then like go to ice it the night before the wedding, and it's just like melting, and I can't. Anyway,
it's happened to me. I feel you.
But it was delicious.
Of course.
So those are the two recipes that for me are like cement this book in like the all-time Hall of Fame for vegan cookbooks for me.
I love it. I love cupcakes, so I definitely have to make the cupcakes now. Any other recipes of honorable mention?
You know, again, there's the biscuits in there, so pair that with the gravy. There was like this it's like asparagus and sun-dried tomato frittata. It's like, you know, like a tofu kind of. And that is something that opened up the world of tofu to me, because it's like, oh, it can be more than just a slab that you fry in a pan or something like that. Like, this is a very versatile ingredient. There's like a peach cobbler in there that was like another one. And that was another one that's like, oh, this is a pretty forgiving recipe. And it's sort of teaching me the basics of like this type of dessert. So those are all the ones that I can like remember. I'm sure if I go through the list in the thing, I'll be like, oh, I made that. I remember making some like white bean and like tempeh, like sausage patties, like in there as well. That I thought was really good. I just saw those in there.
Oh, I love it. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me today and sharing a bit with our listeners about your experience with this book. And I'm going to do a deep dive for you, my friends. Don't you fret. But before I jump into that and bid farewell to Andy, please tell everyone where they can find Compassion Co. on socials and the internet.
It's just Compassion Co. everywhere. So Instagram, Facebook, Compassion Co. and CompassionCo.com if you want to, you know, buy a thing on the internet.
Easy breezy. I love it. And don't forget, in the show notes, we have the summer schedule for Compassion Co. so you can find him on the road. And also go check out his website if you aren't able to purchase the goods from Andy in person. And thank you for taking the time to chat and spend time with me today. I appreciate you being here so much. Yay. All right, everybody, stay tuned. I'll go through the book and shout out even more of Isa's wildly fantastic recipes in just a minute. Okay, now we're going to take a look through the rest of the book, which I'm very excited to. I got to tell you, I haven't really used this book that much, so I'm really excited to see what types of recipes are in here. You know I love some Isa recipes. Who doesn't? Again, my favorite, not again, I've said it before on the podcast, but not this episode. My favorite book of Isa's is Isa Does It in One day I'm going to go through it for y'all because it's the one I've cooked through the most. But let's take a look and see what good exists throughout this, wow, I'm looking at the table of contents right now. It is a pretty decent sized collection of recipes here. We're starting with brunch, which is great. You know, Isa's got a brunch book, which I have gone over with Natalie Slater, Bake and Destroy, on this podcast before. We did a whole episode dedicated to the brunch book. But let's see what she has in here. We've got scrambled tofu, asparagus, and sun-dried tomato frittata, tempeh and white bean sausage patties, breakfast lentil chorizo, tempeh sausage crumbles, tempeh bacon, sweet potato hash, and 5-spice and watercress. That's an interesting combo right there. Sweet potato hash with 5-spice and watercress, herb roasted potatoes, baking powder biscuits, and white bean tempeh sausage gravy. Now, this is one, Andy talked about the white bean gravy here, but these baking powder biscuits, let's see what she has to say here. She says, this biscuit recipe is adapted from a 1944 cookbook entitled Ruth Wakefield's Toll House Tried and True Recipes. In her introduction, she states, I know there are no substitutes for butter, cream, eggs, fresh fruits, and vegetables for preparing a fine meal. I agree with the fruit and veggies part, but aside from that, I have thoroughly ignored Ruth's advice, and her modified biscuit recipe has served me well for years. If you'd like, you can serve these with white bean and tempeh sausage gravy. Yum, yum. I did order the mushroom sauce on page 93, or ignore my suggestions as I did Ruth and serve them with margarine or whatever else you want. The gravy is a modified version of a recipe submitted to my website by someone named Lisa over 10 years ago. Thanks, Lisa. She says, so these biscuits have 2 cups of flour, 5 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt, 3 tablespoons non-hydrogenated shortening, 2 tablespoons non-hydrogenated vegan margarine, and 2/3 cup unsweetened almond milk. I got to tell you, I'm going to make these one day because who doesn't love that? I mean, biscuits are typically have few ingredients, but this is amazing. And with that baking powder, you're going to get a nice rise out of those, easy breezy. So I love that. That's the baking powder biscuits and white bean tempeh sausage gravy. We've got French toast, spelled Fronch. Let's see what French toast is. She says this recipe is still the Frenchiest and toastiest. Even though I made a few adjustments, I couldn't tell you what it is about chickpea flour, but this French toast looks and tastes just like the real, quotations, thing. These days, I prefer to use a soft Italian bread as my toast. In the original recipe, I used vegetable oil for cooking, but now I always use refined coconut oil. It has such a buttery and rich taste. She's not wrong there. It takes this already favorite recipe to even new heights. I also ditched the soy creamer in the recipe, opting for more streamlined almond milk. Serve with fresh berries, sliced bananas, and pure maple syrup. I gotta tell you, I'm always looking for great French toast recipes, or in this case, French. I mean, I guess just because French. There's a little note in here. Looks like a little raccoon, maybe. It says, Frizzle says, really, this works with any bread. It works best if it's day old, but if you're using sliced bread from a package, lightly toast it first to prevent sogginess, and you're all set. So we got little tips in here from who looks to be maybe Frizzle's the raccoon. Okay, moving on. We got perfect pancakes. Coconut pancakes with pineapple sauce. That sounds so good. Banana pecan pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, ginger pear waffles, lemon corn waffles, and blueberry maple sauce, oatmeal banana raisin waffles, and pumpkin waffles. Now, I got to tell you, my favorite pancake recipe as of like this last year is this really fluffy pancake recipe from Isa Does It. So I got to tell you, seeing this like coconut pancakes with pineapple sauce, banana pecan pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, I want to make all these. I am down for Isa Chandra pancake recipe. I'm here for it. Next, we got a section called muffins and scones. Carrot raisin muffin, cherry almond muffin, lemon poppy seed muffin, ginger raisin bran muffin, sunny blueberry corn muffins, the best pumpkin muffins, mocha chip muffins, apple pie crumb cake muffins, Marlene's glazed orange scones, and then some standard scones and hazelnut scones. What a wonderful list of muffins and scones. I'm a sucker for a lemon poppy seed muffin. So second to that, I might say that sunny blueberry corn muffin is one that I would be gravitated towards. Ooh, or maybe the apple pie crumb cake muffin. Sounds delicious, right? Next is a chapter dedicated to soups. We've got curried carrot bisque, chipotle corn and black bean stew, corn chowder, beet barley and black soybean soup with pumpernickel croutons. Come on with the pumpernickel croutons. Get into it. Roasted butternut squash soup, curried split pea soup, potato asparagus soup, black bean and quinoa soup, chili sin carne a la mole, chickpea and rice soup with a little kale, matzo ball soup, white bean and roasted garlic soup, and a rich vegetable broth. All delicious, hearty options for the fall and winter. But you know me, I'm a soup all year kind of guy. So maybe I'll be making this like potato asparagus one in the summer. And of course, there's the chickpea and rice soup with little kale. That just sounds like a good one when you're sick. Maybe it's going to be nice and warm and comforting. Okay, next chapter is little meals, finger foods, and sandwiches. So we got fresh corn fritters, knish madness, 3 kinds of knishes: sweet potato, potato, and Spanish potato knishes, olive, tomato, and millet stuffed zucchini, potato samosas with coconut mint chutney. Now that sounds outstanding. I love me some samosas. Oh, baby. We were Andersonville, our neighborhood we live in, had a Midsummer Fest last week or 2 weekends ago, and we volunteered, my husband and I, that is, at a beer booth all morning. It wasn't beer, it was just whatever beverages we were, for the cause, for the neighborhood. But across the way there was this Indian food tent, and I like beelined right over to it when we were done volunteering, because they had clearly labeled on their menu vegan samosas and a few other vegan items as well. But I was like, I need those samosas now. Now they served it with some delicious sauces, but this coconut mint chutney in here, come on, bring it on. We got black bean mushrooms and quinoa stuffed peppers, fresh mango summer rolls with sweet and spicy dipping sauce. I love a summer roll. You put all those crisp, delicious veggies in that rice paper, wrap it up, and then putting the fresh mango in here, you're getting that sweetness in there, and dipping in that sweet and spicy dipping sauce. I'm here for it. Thank you, Isa. Seitan and herb stuffed mushroom. Do y'all get into stuffed mushrooms? I love mushrooms, but I don't love stuffing a mushroom. Just like I don't love stuffing a tomato. Like that's not my gig. I always find like when I see like a stuffed mushroom at a party too, like I don't gravitate towards it. So I guess I'm not going to be making this recipe, is what we're finding out right now. We got black-eyed pea and quinoa croquettes with mushroom sauce, spanakopita, spinach pies, of course, parsnip scallion pancakes. Oh, let's take a look at those parsnip scallion pancakes. David and I love a scallion pancake. It's like our favorite thing. So she says parsnips, the other white vegetable, they're more than just a pale carrot. They're fresh and earthy tasting with just a hint of sweetness that doesn't need too much spicing up. The green onions add just a subtle bite. So we got the peeled parsnips in here, scallions, flour, canola oil for frying, and salt, and a few dashes of freshly ground black pepper. So it comes together nice and easy. I mean, I got to tell you, so many things in this book so far that I cannot believe I've not allowed myself to enjoy so far in life. I've had this book for a long time. Cauliflower leek kugel with almond herb crust. Chickpea broccoli casserole. Give me some of that now, please. Simply put, she's got a falafel in here. I bet Isa's recipe for falafel is a darn good falafel recipe. Let's take a look here. She says, if you attended Jewish day camp, you might have grown up thinking that Judaism was a series of humiliating acts wherein you had to don curious things on your head and wear brightly colored face paint and then dance around in the hot sun while lethargic adults looked on. Case in point, one summer, my fellow campers and I dressed up as falafel and sang a song to the tune of the Kinks' Come Dancing. It went falafel. I like to eat it on Saturday. Falafel. The taste is natural. I don't know that song, so I'm not able to do it, unfortunately. Somehow I came out of all this still loving falafel to pieces. If you don't have a food processor, you can still make it by chopping the onions, garlic, and parsley as finely as possible and then mashing everything together really, really well. And these are your basic fried falafels here with chickpeas, breadcrumbs, chickpea flour, onion, garlic. We got cumin, coriander, pepper, fresh parsley, salt, black pepper, lots of good stuff in there. And make the makings of a falafel essentially, but I'm sure she seasons it up just right. We're getting the perfect falafel from Isa, I have no doubt. We got curried tempeh, mango salad sandwiches. The use of mango in this book is exciting me. Lentil walnut burgers, tempeh Reuben. Everyone claims to make the best Reuben, but I give this gal her flowers, but I know this Reuben's going to be delicious. We got a TLT, tempeh, lettuce, and tomato. I'm also excited at the use of tempeh in this book. Anybody else? I certainly am. Chickpea nori salad sandwiches and tofu dill salad sammies. Next is our sides chapter. I always say I love a good side because you can take this to any party, vegan or non-vegan party, and just serve a bunch of people a bunch of delicious food that happens to be vegan. Cumin spiced rice with toasted almonds, coconut rice with toasted coconut, Brussels sprout fried rice, mashed potatoes and punk rock chickpea gravy. There we go with that chickpea gravy. She loves making a gravy out of bean, and my friends love it. They have told me maple mustard glazed potatoes and string beans, sweet potato fries, baked Cajun fries, baked Cajun French fries, that is, orange glazed beets. That sounds so good. Orange glazed beets, orange and beets together. Yum, 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 yum. Sauteed green beans with mushrooms, ginger roasted winter vegetables, braised cauliflower with 3-seed sauce, balsamic glazed portobello mushrooms, garlicky kale with tahini dressing. That sounds great. I just love, I love kale. I love kale. Something's got to be done to it, but I love kale. And this, we're talking about garlicky kale with tahini dressing. I'm so into that. Roasted applesauce, sesame asparagus, and roasted Brussels sprouts with toasted garlic. This roasted Brussels sprouts. Roasted applesauce is what I'm trying to say. Only thing I can imagine here is that we must be roasting the apples and then making applesauce. She says this is a standard Passover dish for me to bring as an alternative to regular old applesauce from a jar. It's so much more homey and flavorful. Serve alongside potato pancakes or horseradish and coriander crusted tofu, both in this book, or anytime, or that's one thing, horseradish and coriander crusted tofu, or anytime you think this is good, but it could use some applesauce. That's when she wants you to use it. And we are roasting the apples and then making a delicious applesauce with it. So you got the apples in this, then you got lemon juice, a little olive oil, actually, maple syrup, ground cinnamon, grated lemon zest, and allspice and salt. Now listen, I usually am very basic with my applesauce. I will put some stuff in an Instapot, let it go, and mush it up, and I got applesauce. But with all that stuff in it, that is going to be like elevated applesauce on another level. Okay, our next chapter here is pizzas and pastas. So we've got pizza. It says pizza dough, a novel. I wonder if she's just waxing poetically about pizza. Oh, she sure is. You get about a page and a half of Isa just really chitty-chatting about pizza dough here. I love that, which is great because Isa's stuff is always fun to read. All right, pizza dough, classic pesto, pizza sauce, basil tofu ricotta, some pizza tips from a Brooklyn girl who knows from pizza. Let's see what we get here, how long these tips are. Okay, so a one-pager here. Don't overload your pizza with toppings. Once your pizza dough is prepared, keep it wrapped in plastic. It dries out. Otherwise, you need a pizza stone for an awesome crust. She's not wrong there. If you're having trouble stretching out the crust, there's no shame in simply using a rolling pin for the whole shebang. Get it, girl. I love that she gave the freedom for that. Absolutely. The best pizza cutters can be found in thrift stores. Work. Experiment with textures and flavors. And then she lists some of her favorite things to put on a pizza, like roasted red peppers, roasted Brussels sprouts, pineapple and tempeh bacon, artichoke hearts, and roasted garlic, which might be some recipes we're going to get into next. Potato and tempeh sausage pizza. 142 is called Isa pizza. So we got to see what's on the Isa pizza. She says, maybe you've noticed that my name sort of rhymes with pizza. I know someone else who realized that. Everyone I've ever met from my kindergarten class on up. Well, it's finally come in handy. I can name a pizza after myself. Of course, this pizza is awesome, or it wouldn't be my namesake. Salty olives, fragrant pesto, creamy tofu ricotta, and yummy cremini mushrooms. To get truly Brooklyn-style pizza, you'll need to have a metal pizza pan and a pizza stone for the bottom rack of your oven. That will make the crust nice and crisp on the bottom, but still chewy and doughy on the inside. But if you don't have a pizza stone, don't sweat it too much. Simply bake on a regular baking pan and call it a day, babe. I added the babe. Next is the Green Goddess garlic pizza. And then we've got green garden puree, orchetta with cherry tomatoes and Kalamata tapenade, homemade gnocchi, BLT mac and cheese, eggplant bacon, fettuccine alfredo, and creamy red charred linguine. I love how she's always sneaking some veggies in for us. Entrees are next. We got a basic marinated tofu, and then a section called Taming Your Tofu, which they tease about in the summary for this book. Asian tofu, Italian tofu, tofu chimichurri, stewed tofu and potatoes and miso gravy, barbecue pomegranate tofu, horseradish and coriander crusted tofu, mango ginger tofu, pumpkin seed crusted tofu with baked pumpkin and cranberry relish, seitan, jerk seitan portobello stroganoff, cold udon noodles with peanut sauce, seitan, Ethiopian seitan and red peppers, kabocha squash stuffed with butternut vindaloo, lemongrass noodle bowl with mock duck, chickpea and spinach curry, green Thai curry, black-eyed pea curry, and collards with potatoes, rustic lentil stew over polenta, sweet potato crepes with cilantro, tamarind sauce, savory crepes, Brooklyn pad thai, millet and spinach polenta with sun-dried tomato pesto, revolutionary Spanish omelet with saffron and roasted red pepper almond sauce, Moroccan tagine with spring vegetables, mushroom and sun-dried tomato risotto, and eggplant artichoke alla napolitana. Now, let's see what this Brooklyn style pad thai is. You know, Isa's our Brooklyn gal. She talks about Brooklyn often, so maybe it is a pad thai she used to have in Brooklyn. She says, is this authentic? Most assuredly not, but it does taste a lot like the pad thai served every 2 feet in Brooklyn. It's spicy, savory, sweet, and sour. Exactly what you want in pad thai. This makes enough to serve 4 people. I originally suggested making the recipe 2 servings at a time, but if you have a big-ass gigantic wok, you can make it all at once. Otherwise, I suggest dividing the ingredients in half 2 cooking sessions so that the noodles don't become mushy. Atta girl. That's entrees, my friend. Lots of great stuffs in there. You know what I'm saying? Also got cold udon noodle with peanut sauce and seitan and the Ethiopian seitan peppers. Such good stuff. Okay, into the sweet spot, my loves. We got cookies and bars, sparkled ginger cookies, chocolate chip cookies, maple walnut cookies, pumpkin oatmeal cookies, big gigantoid crunchy peanut butter oatmeal cookies, peanut butter crisscrosses, oatmeal raisin cookies, buttery lemon cookies, fig knot ends. Let's see what the fig knot ends are. They're definitely not a fig Newton. You know what I'm saying? Oh. All right, the fig knot ends. Fig Naughton. She said, I love these cookie bar things. They are larger than your store-bought fig sandwich cookies, but bigger is better, right? They're like a little fig sandwich, and who doesn't want that? They're a great snack for a brown bag lunch. And we got Fizzle, I think raccoon again, says, make the dough and filling a day in advance, and assembly becomes a snap. Not wrong there. Good advice always for cooking. All right, we got oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh, we already did that. So fig nut ends, chocolate thumbprint cookies. Let's check those out as well. Some of you may know David loves a raspberry thumbprint cookie. So seeing a chocolate thumbprint cookie just like really intrigues me. What is that? She says, people love thumbprint cookies. The name and the cute little dollop of jam always elicit awes from the masses. There's something really homey and sweet about giving the center of each cookie a little kiss with your thumb, even if you're actually using a utensil to make the indent. These have a nice little hint of almond in the dough, which goes great with the raspberry jam. Now, they must be chocolate cookies, though, then, right? I'm trying to see. Yes, we've got cocoa powder. So instead of a vanilla almond cookie for the base, you're getting a chocolate cookie. That's delicious. Okay. Cranberry white chocolate biscotti. Yes, please. Kitchen sink chocolate biscotti. Banana split pudding brownies. Oh, my gosh. Deluxe cocoa brownies. Call me blondie. Macadamia blondies and caramel maple topping. This is I love this so much. Raspberry chocolate chip blonde bars. Nut diamonds. What are date nut diamonds? Date nut diamonds. That's going to be on 2. Oh gosh, I just turned to the most gorgeous photo of a chocolate cake. It looks so good. But right now we're on date night diamonds. Focus. Dustin. Date nut diamonds. She says, okay, you don't have to cut these in diamonds, but they look cute if you choose to. These bars are very home and garden. In fact, I'm pretty sure I stole the recipe from that magazine years and years ago. They're very nutty and cozy with the dates, walnuts, brown sugar, and coconut. Love that. They do look delicious. Just like a classic date bar, kind of with some more goodies in it a little bit. Cut into diamond shapes. All right, and here we're wrapping it up with desserts. Ginger macadamia coconut carrot cake. Wowzers. Orange rum tea cake, raspberry blackout cake with ganache. That is the one I turned to, and it looked so good. Chocolate rum pudding cake, pumpkin cheesecake and praline topping, blueberry coffee cake, Faustus cupcakes, Hostess cupcakes, I guess, really is what that is. Coconut Heaven cupcakes, lemon gem cupcakes. I love lemon cupcake, and it has lemon frosting. Get into it. Chocolate pudding, no bake, black bottom, peanut butter silk pie. Yes. Sweet potato pie with 3-nut topping, gingerbread apple pie, olive oil double crust, Cosmo apple pie, ginger peach pie, pear and cranberry tart, strawberry shortcakes with macadamia creme, and peach cobbler things out here. Check out this. What do we got here? Sweet potato. What do I want to know? Let's look at that raspberry blackout cake with ganache. It just looked so outstanding. Let's see what she has to say about it, though. She gonna say, deep dark chocolate and sultry raspberries. This cake is just plain sexy. She's right. I mean, this photo is gorgeous and sexy as all get out. She said it's perfect for a birthday or for Valentine's Day, or for when you've had a really rough day and just need cake. Listen, if you ask me, I need cake every day, but like that's kind of just me and how I'm rolling. Like I just love cake so much. I just truly do. I'm just flipping through here at the photos of everything. Really, it all looks so good. This peach cobbler, I have yet to find a recipe for peach cobbler I love, so maybe this is the one. And my friends, that is Vegan with a Vengeance. A reminder that this Vegan with a Vengeance that I just went through is the 10th anniversary edition. So if you heard something you liked, you will want to purchase that one and not the original one. And don't forget, Smash Food Lab is now ready for pre-orders. That's right. My new food concept is here in Chicago, and we are now slowly opening up for business. And if you're in the area, you can place pre-orders at smashfoodlab.com. They're available for pickup every Saturday at Loaves and Witches. And we're doing the Beach Bites menu right now. So lots of great things on the Beach Bites menu that you can pre-order by Thursday every week and pick up at Loaves and Witches between 10 and 1 o'clock on Saturdays. And Loaves and Witches is less than a half mile from the beach, so it is perfection. And great things on the menu. I got a tropical barbecue tofu sandwich. We're talking baked barbecue tofu with a slaw of red cabbage dressed in a sesame ginger dressing, topped with a caramelized pineapple on a toasted ciabatta bun. Then I'm doing a cold caprese panini that's being served with cheese and thank you, local business here in Chicago, cheese and thank you, fresh mozzarella, a nut-free, and that's a soy base, so nut-free. And then I'm making a nut-free pesto from scratch that's going to be on there. So this sandwich that would typically have a lot of nuts in the vegan space potentially does not have nuts in it. The pesto is made with pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and basil and garlic, all that delicious stuff like that, right? So you got the fresh mozzarella on there, some drizzle, you got the pesto on there, a little bit of what else do we got on there? Is there arugula on there? Am I putting arugula on there? No, I'm not putting arugula on there. Yeah, arugula, and then also fresh basil is going to be on there as well. Tasty, yum. And then I've got a couple pasta salads, a farmer's market pasta with lots of fresh veggies, corn, zucchini. What else? A tofu feta that I'm tossing in there, cucumbers, tomatoes, red onion, fresh herbs like mint, parsley, and basil, all tossed in there with a red wine vinaigrette, yummy. And then a Thai peanut pasta salad with a creamy, delicious peanut sauce and red peppers and scallions and cabbage, cucumbers in that as well. So lots of yummy stuff like that. Delicious stuff to take to the beach. You're going to be living large on the beach. And then I'm doing a very luxurious strawberry watermelon feta salad. So that's going to be a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of watermelon, some feta tossed in there, some vegan feta with also a little bit of lime juice and some mint thrown in there. Very refreshing, great to have at the beach. And then also, of course, I couldn't leave you hanging without a potato salad this summer, but I didn't want to do a mayo base, so I'm giving you a garlicky lemon and herb potato salad. It tastes exactly like it sounds, full of flavor. And then closing things out are pina colada bites, and that's sort of like a little energy bite that's got, cashews and pineapple and dates in it and coconut, ultimately, with a little dash of salt in there to bring all those flavors together. So you can pre-order anything from the Beach Bites menu now, and I'm going to make it for you personally with my own two hands, and then you can pick it up at Loaves and Witches every Saturday between 10 and 1. We're going to be doing that through the summer, and then when the fall comes, we'll announce what's next for Smash Food Lab that you can pick up. And of course, you can follow Smash Food Lab on Instagram at Smash Food Lab and see what we're up to there. I hope you will give Smash Food Lab a try. I would be absolutely delighted to cook for you. And of course, if you want free recipes to cook for yourself, or if you're not in Chicago, you can go to keeponcookin.com and get all those recipes there. And that's all for now. Keep on cooking, and remember, it's nice to be nice. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.